Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be nitpicking my favorite K-pop groups, which basically just means I'll be highlighting really minuscule problems that I have with them. I've done a couple videos in a similar vein to this one. I've done constructive criticism for my favorite groups, and things that I hate about groups that I love. But in those videos, the things that I talked about were actually pretty significant, and I was able to do some pretty in-depth commentary about the things that I thought they could improve upon. And in contrast to those two videos, the commentary I'll be doing here is going to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, petty. In reality, none of the problems that I'm going to be pointing out today are really that big of a deal, and also shouldn't be taken that seriously. If that doesn't make sense, things will become a lot more clear once we actually get into the video, so I guess let's just go ahead and do that right now. And let's start off with one of my semi-ults, Loona. So if you know Loona, you know that they have two sides of their music, at least when it comes to their title tracks. They have their girl crush side, with songs such as So What, Why Not, and Paint the Town, and they also have their lighter side with Flip That, Butterfly, and Hi Hi. But if you think that I'm here to complain about their girl crush side and wish that they would only stick to their lighter concepts, then you are sorely mistaken. I mean, I won't lie, when I first got into Loona, I was one of those So What and Why Not haters, but that was mostly because I listened to people who thought that way. But after a while, I reevaluated those songs on my own without any outside opinions, and I realized they're actually not that bad. But the problem that I have with Loona when it comes to their girl crush music is that their best girl crush song got paid dirt and wasn't even promoted. And that song is Hide and Seek, which was a B-side off the Why Not album. The fact that somebody in BlackBerry listened to the entirety of Hide and Seek and then consequentially decided that it should only be a B-side pisses me off even to this day. Literally every time I listen to Hide and Seek, my mind immediately thinks, ugh, this would have been so good with a music video, with a choreography, with live stages, but instead, we got none of that. And instead, all that Hide and Seek got was a little video of the members in Halloween costumes moving their arms up and down to it. If you know, you know. And I'm not trying to be mean to Why Not or So What, but like, Hide and Seek is by far the superior song. It's much more fun, it's much more danceable, and it's much more iconic to me. And also, how are you gonna have a section in the song that literally sounds like a dance break, but not actually give it a choreography? Like, can we please be serious? I can think of so many different ways that Hide and Seek could have gotten the respect that it deserved. They could have made it the title track instead of Why Not. They could have saved it for the next album and made it a good follow-up to Why Not. Or they could have made an English version and made it the promoted B-side instead of Star. Like, Star and Why Not being in the same album does not make any sense. And since Why Not and Hide and Seek have very similar vibes, it would have been a lot more cohesive if Hide and Seek was the promoted B-side. Not trying to be too harsh on Star because I do enjoy the song, but it was only given all that special treatment because it was a retro song during the peak of the retro trend. And who do we have to blame for all the retro in K-pop? Actually, maybe I should shut up before I get myself in trouble. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that Hide and Seek is too good of a song to only be a B-side, and it should have at the very least gotten a choreography. Next, we're going to be talking about the Boyz and specifically how their editors distribute the screen time in their music videos. For a little bit of context into this, the Boyz are currently my second favorite boy group, and my bias is Sungyeon. He's one of the main vocals. And since he's a main vocalist, he's usually around the top 3 when it comes to line distribution in their songs. So you would think that he'd be pretty visible when you watch their music videos, but for some reason, this isn't the case. At least, not usually. Now I, along with most other people I think, believe that when a member has a line in a song, that member should be the one highlighted on the screen in the music video. Of course, I'm not ridiculous about this, like if a member's doing high note ad-libs over another member's lines, then it's probably not gonna be the one doing the high notes who's on the screen. But for some reason, when it comes to Sungyeon, and I feel like a couple of the other members too, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes when Sungyeon's literally the only one singing, they'll still show other members on the screen instead of him, and you'll barely see him at all. This feels super weird to me considering he's one of the most important members when it comes to their performances, and yet he's like pushed into the background when it comes to their music videos. I know he's not one of the most popular members of the group, but that's probably because not a lot of people see him, and I guess I just wish that the boys' screen time distribution was a little bit more even. I also know that Sangyeon is not one of the only members that kind of gets the shorter end of the stick when it comes to screen time. I know a lot of people within their fandom, and I feel like every time the boys have a comeback, people complain about a member being basically invisible in the music video, which doesn't seem super fair to me. I mean, obviously you give your most popular members more screen time, but that doesn't mean that the least popular ones should get next to none. At least show them during their lines, you know? And I guess if I had to summarize this all up into one sentence, it would be, I wish I could see my bias Sangyeon more in their music videos, because I don't think he gets the most screen time. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Billlie, and this is a very specific nitpick that I'm not sure if many people are going to understand what I'm trying to say. But at the very least, let me try to communicate what I'm thinking. So first of all, you need to know that Billlie is a very lore-intensive group. The group has a super complex story that's portrayed not only through their music videos, but they also have entire other videos that are like 16 minutes long entirely dedicated to their lore. To be honest, I don't have the biggest grasp on what it's supposed to be about. I've watched the lore videos and I still don't really get it, but one thing that is super important with Billie's lore is the term B-side. One thing that I do understand about Billie's lore is that there are two sides of whatever world that they're in, and they refer to the other one as the B-side, which is totally fine and dandy. You know, it's like a little thing that you have for your lore that's cool and all. But from time to time, they incorporate the word B-side into some of their YouTube uploads, and for one of the teasers for their most recent comeback, Ginga Minga Yo, they teased the title track with a video titled B-Side Spoiler. They teased the title track with a video called B-Side Spoiler. You know how in K-pop and other kinds of music, B-sides are referred to tracks that aren't the lead single, but here they used the term B-side to spoil the lead single. Like, do you guys understand why I was confused? I remember literally arguing with somebody that I was talking to, being like, oh, this is one of their B-sides, like this'll probably be the promoted B-side off the album, right? And they had to explain to me in very detailed reasoning how this was just part of their lore and that was actually the title track. It's not that big of a deal really, but just to make things a little bit less confusing, I wish they named the other side of whatever world that they're in something else, because with it being named B-side right now and with them using their lore terms in their YouTube video titles, it just leads to a lot of unnecessary confusion. And if you're confused as to what I'm even saying right now, believe me, I am more confused than you are. I don't know, maybe it's just me and I'm just really stupid and everybody else understood, but I feel like I'm not the only one who is confused by this. But let me know, maybe I'm wrong. Next, we'll be talking about my favorite group of all time, MCND, and this quote-unquote problem that I have with them is something that has only popped up recently, and that's that nowadays I feel like you can't really differentiate between Minjae and Huijun's voices. Now, Minjae is my ultimate bias, as you all know, and he's the main vocal of MCND, but Huijun is also the main vocal of MCND. They're both main vocalists, and they used to have not necessarily contrasting voices, but definitely distinct. But nowadays, they kind of sound the same. I listen to MCND basically every single day, and I feel like I should be able to tell who's singing just by hearing their voice. And for the three rappers, that's totally true. They have completely different voices, all three of them. But Minjae and Huijun? No, not really. They kind of sound the same. I mean, they sound good, don't get me wrong. They both sound fantastic. But distinct? I mean, they sound distinct compared to other boy groups, but from each other? Not really. I think the reason why is that recently people have been talking about how Minjae is actually kind of Huijun's vocal coach. I mean, they have their professionals, of course, but I guess outside of that, Minjae's been giving Huijun some tips, and it kind of has been making them sound similar recently. I guess they sing in similar ways, and they use a similar technique, so now they sound like brothers, or I guess their voices sound like brothers where they have just the same genetics or something. I don't know. I don't even know if I dislike it. It's honestly kind of nice. I almost want to say it's kind of sweet, but I just wanted to point it out because it's been on my mind recently. Moving on, we have ITZY, and warning right now, this one's gonna be a little bit more petty than usual compared to the rest of them. So I love ITZY's music, we all know this. I'm the biggest defender of both the Mafia in the Morning and the Loco albums. Would I say that they're no skip? No, but I do think that they're definitely undersold when it comes to how K-pop stans talk about them. Like, K-pop stans hate on those two albums like they're literally the worst thing they've ever heard, but the thing is, there's a real villain when it comes to ITZY's discography. There's one album that even I can't defend, and it's quite the stain on their reputation, at least when it comes to my mind. Let's all be real for a second. The true villain when it comes to ITZY's music is the Wannabe album. Let me ask you all this. Besides 24 Hours and Wannabe, what songs from that era do you actually go back to actively? I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the answer should be none. No hate to 24 Hours, of course, that's literally like a top 3 ITZY song of all time, but the rest of them, not even I can defend them, and you know how delusional I can be. It just kind of bothers me how everybody complains about how quote-unquote bad Guess Who and Crazy in Love are, when I couldn't give It's Me a rating more than like 5 out of 10. So I just want everybody to know, and I just want everybody to listen to me when I say, it's time to divert our negative attention away from Guess Who and Crazy in Love, and direct it towards It's Me. Thank you. And finally for this video we have Ateez, and the problem that I have with them doesn't actually have anything to do with the group, it actually involves Ateez. And it's the fact that Ateez always hype up Ateez's worst title tracks. It's true, no, hear me out, I'm not crazy on this one, I will actually die on this hill. Okay, not actually, but still. It makes me so bitter how all of my favorite Ateez title tracks are the ones that are less popular than the ones that were released in the same year. The majority of Ateez like Treasure, well, I like Pirate King more. The majority of Ateez like Say My Name, well, I think WayV is superior. Inception is one of their most popular songs, but Answer and Thanks are both way better. And don't even get me started on Deja Vu outshining Fireworks. It's not that I dislike half of Ateez's title tracks, because that's just not true, but my own personal taste has never been so different from a fandom than it has been with Ateez. And that just feels weird to me, I don't know. The only time me and Ateez saw eye to eye was for Wonderland. That is one of their best title tracks, and it deserved every single ounce of popularity that it got them. But besides that, I really do not understand Ateez. I just don't. And that concludes this video. What did you all think of what I had to say in this video? Make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for supporting my channel recently. I seriously cannot thank you all enough. Like, I appreciate every single view that you guys give me. And if you enjoyed the video and you want to help me out some more, consider leaving a like or even subscribing. Thank you all again. Make sure to tune in this Friday for something special, maybe a little bit of a face reveal, something along those lines, I don't know. And without further ado, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.